I'm gonna keep going here in First Maccabees 2. I'm gonna just keep going at 39. Now when Matthias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him. Neither will we die all as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. Now that in itself is like basically a prerequisite to when Yahushua was talking about it was right to do good on the Sabbath. That in itself, with the reference to what David was doing on the Sabbath when he had to feed himself and his men, those are all prerequisites to it is right to do good on the Sabbath. Because we're supposed to have a day of rest on the Sabbath, but at the same time, if these enemies are coming to entrench us at the Sabbath, the Lord is not going to fault us for fighting, for who we are as Israel, on the Sabbath. Okay, but I'm gonna keep going here. This is I'm gonna keep going to verse 42. First Maccabees 2 and 42. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law. Also all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them, and were a stay unto them. So they joined their forces, and smote sinful men in their anger, and wicked men in their wrath. But the rest fled to the heathen for succor. Okay, so which I'm gonna reference a couple things here. First, I'm gonna go to the scriptures. This Exodus. Go to Exodus 32. Starting at 26. This is Exodus 32 and 26. Then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on the Lord's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. And he said unto them, thus saith the Lord, power of Israel, put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from every gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor. And the children of Levi did according to the word of Moses, and there fell of the people that day about 3,000. So this is the same thing that happened in the Maccabees, happened here in the Exodus with the same people, with the Levites. This in this case being represented by Matthias Maccabee and his sons. But basically, they wanted to fight for the Lord, so they went throughout Israel, and they were killing all the wicked of Israel that wanted to follow after the ways of Esau, man, as well as smiting Esau. Same thing that happened here in 2 Maccabees 2:42 to 44. All right, and I'm gonna read another bit of history about another different group that popped up on the scene later. Not in Haiti, but they're known as the Sicarii, and as you guys know. That's our name for our camp, Exodus 17:15, referencing Yahweh Hashem Yahushua as our banner, and then aka the sect of the Sicarii, which were a sect of zealots that existed in Israel, and I'm going to read about them briefly, in Lord's will. I got a lesson prepared to go into that to give further edification on who the Sicarii were, but I'm going to just read this little excerpt. The Sicarii carried sakai, or small daggers, concealed in their cloaks, hence their name. At public gatherings, they pulled out these daggers to attack Romans or Roman sympathizers, Herodians, and wealthy Jews comfortable with Roman rule. So it's the same thing that happened here. They were killing these crackers, which were at this time Greeks, as well as Jakes that sympathized with the Greeks and were aligned with the Greeks. Lamenting ostentatiously after the deed to blend into the crowd to escape detection. Literally, Sicarii meant daggerman, and that's via Wikipedia. The Wikipedia article on the Sicarii. So it's the same thing that the Maccabees did, was the same thing the Sicarii did. You see what I'm saying? Where there were rebels that were coming against Esau, ruling over us, which is what we're doing now, but we're not taking it, on the physical plane. We're doing it all spiritual, man, But because Yahushua told us this was, it's not our time to fight, essentially. Our time to fight will come, but it's not right now. Right now we fighting that spiritual battle. Okay, but I'm going to skip up here to 1 Maccabees 2 and 47. They pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand. Now, and the work prospered in their hand. I'm going to get this real quick in Deuteronomy. The 33rd chapter. This is Deuteronomy 33:11. Bless, Lord, his substance, and accept the work of his hands. Smite through the loins of them that rise against him, and of them that hate him, and that they rise not again. So this is what was happening there. The blessing that came upon Levi, smiting through those that hate them, which were these Greeks, and that, you know, the 2/3 Uncle Tom ass niggas of that time period. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they was doing in this case. Okay, and I'm gonna read this excerpt right here from history, which happened during, you know, the Haitian Revolution. The carnage that the slaves wreaked in northern settlements such as Acou, Limbe, Flavel, and Le Norman revealed the simmering fury of an oppressed people. The bands of slaves slaughtered every white person they encountered. That's that killing the proud men, man. Who's prouder than the so-called white man? Nobody. Okay, so the bands of slaves slaughtered every white person they encountered. As their standard, they carried a pike with the carcass of an impaled white baby. Okay, accounts of the rebellion describe widespread torching of property, fields, factories, and anything else that belonged or served slaveholders. The inferno was said to have burned almost continuously for months, man. And you know that goes back to how we're going to be a fire in the midst of these crackers, man. You know. I'm gonna skip up here though. But yeah, it's the same thing happened. We was killing the proud men, just like we was doing here in First Maccabees 2:47. They pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand. Man, we was killing them, and we was prospering. We was getting victories over these crackers in these instances. Okay, I'm gonna skip up to First Maccabees 2 and 69. So he blessed them and was gathered to his fathers, and he died. Just talking about the death of Matthias Maccabee. And he died in the 146th year, and his sons buried him in the sepulchre of his fathers at Modin, and all Israel made great lamentation for him. I'm going to keep reading into chapter 3. Salak, starting at verse 1. Because I was in chapter 2. Then his sons Judas, called Maccabees, rose up in his stead, and all his brethren helped him, and so did all they that held with his father, and they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel. Okay, so this is and I'm going to read something similar that happened in the Haitian Revolution. Later he rose to become this is going to talk about Toussaint Louverture and how he what happened and his successor, which was Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Okay, I believe that's how you're saying it right. So like my Creole is bad. Later he rose to become a commander in the revolt against France. Let's talk about Jean-Jacques. As Toussaint Louverture's principal lieutenant, he led many successful engagements, including the Battle of Pierrot, I think. Salah again, Creole is bad. After the betrayal and capture of Toussaint Louverture in 1802, Dessalines became Dessalines, I believe is how you say it, became the leader of the revolution, and that's via Wikipedia's article on Jean-Jacques. Just a real quick, but basically this is what happened after the death of Toussaint. Jean-Jacques rose in his stead, just like Judas rose in the stead of his father Matthias, and led the battle because Haiti's independence wasn't fully recognized until 1804. Just like in this, Matthias started it. He started it, but then Judas is the one who really, as we go continue to read, really instilled it. Same thing with Toussaint and Jean-Jacques. It's the same exact thing. Toussaint started it, and Jean-Jacques really, really instilled it, and really, instilled our independence in 1804. And just a quick note, the name of Toussaint Louverture actually means one who finds an opening, and that's exactly what he did. He found that opening, which led in the Haitian Revolution, which led Haiti to its ultimate independence. The same thing Matthias did. He found that opening and paved the way so his sons, could come in, and really fight for Israel and really instill, Israel. You know what I'm saying? As they did in their time. The same exact thing. I'm gonna skip up here to verse 7 in First Maccabees 3. He had grieved also many kings and made Jacob glad with his acts, and his memorial is blessed forever. Speaking about Judas. Now, I'm going to read this little excerpt. He defeated Napoleon's forces at the Battle of Salat. He defeated Napoleon's forces at the Battle of Vitry, I think, in 1803, declaring Haiti an independent nation in 1804. Dessalines was chosen by a council of generals to assume the office of Governor General. He ordered the 1804 Haiti massacre of the white Haitian minority, resulting in the deaths of between 3,000 and 5,000 people between February and April 1804. And that's again via Wikipedia's article on Jean-Jacques. Now, it's the same thing that Judas did. Judas vexed many kings. I'm going to read that again here in 3 and 7. He grieved many kings. He grieved Napoleon in defeating him. You see what I'm saying? Napoleon was a great king in his time. Okay, and made Jacob glad with his act. That made Haiti glad, the Levites glad with his actions. And even some of the Simeonites. And his memorial was blessed forever, man. And in Haiti, they blessed his memorial, man, Jean-Jacques. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna skip up to verse 41 just to point something out real quick. And the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves. And power also of Syria and of the land of the Philistines joined themselves unto them. So people in this time, because they was taking a lot of us as slaves in this time, which is further proof that we're all over the earth, because they took us into slavery at that time, and a lot of us probably never got back to Israel and was stayed over in these different heathen lands. But the fact of the matter is this: people always desired to have Israelite slaves. We're always a top commodity in slavery. Hence why they took us, went to the west coast of Africa and brought us over here, and also enslaved our brethren that were already over here. They always preferred us to be slaves. Just like after slavery ended, they tried to bring them coolies, them Elamites, over to the different West Indian islands to do the work, and they couldn't do the work. They always look at us as the top and the primary slaves, man. You see what I'm saying? They always want us, But I'm gonna go here to First Maccabees. I'm gonna jump to verse 54 here in chapter 3. Then sounded they with trumpets and cried with a loud voice. Now, as we all know, the tribe of Levi is known for blowing the trumpets, both in the scriptures. We was the trumpet blowers. You can read that all throughout, the scriptures. Us blowing the trumpets. The Maccabees here blowing the trumpets. Then later, the Ashanti was blew the trumpets. Which some of the Ashanti came to Haiti, and some of the Ashanti went to other of the West Indian islands, and later were maroons of those islands, and actually rebelled and got their own maroon communities, which are the equivalent to the suburbs that the Levites had. You see what I'm saying? Which is kind of a further lesson, which I'm going to, Lord willing, get into, at a later time. But basically, the blowing the trumpets, you see it in the movie Bad Boys 2, that before Levi's getting ready to mount up and go hit that lick, they're blowing that trumpet. So that trumpet is something that's synonymous with Levites all the way from the scriptures to now. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to skip to 1 Maccabees 5 and starting at verse 56. Joseph, the son of Zacharias, and Azarias, captains of the garrisons, heard of the valiant act and warlike deeds which they have done, talking about the Maccabees. Whereupon they had let us also get us a name and go fight against the heathen that are round about us. So when they had given charge unto the garrison that was with them, they went toward Jamnia. Then came Georges and his men of the city to fight against them. And so it was that Joseph and Azarias were put to flight and pursued unto the borders of Judea, and there were slain that day of the people of Israel about 2,000 men. Thus was there a great overthrow among the children of Israel, because they were not obedient unto Judas and his brethren, but thought to do some valiant act. Moreover, these men came not of the seed of those by whose hand deliverance was given unto Israel. Exactly. So basically, well, I'm gonna hit this scripture. I'm gonna hit the scripture real quick, and then I'll kind of expound. This is Acts 5, and I'm gonna start at 36. Acts 5 and 36. For before these days rose up Thaddeus, boasting himself to be somebody, to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who was slain, and all as many as obeyed him were scattered and brought to naught. After this man rose up Judas of Galilee in the days of the taxing, and drew away much people after him. He also perished, and all, even as many as obeyed him, were dispersed. It's the same things that happen in these situations and cases. They were trying to get their fame and make that revolt here in the book of Acts, and they couldn't do it. Same thing here, but it said at the verse 62, more importantly, because they weren't the seed of those who the deliverance was given to Israel in that time too, which we all know that Yahushua is the ultimate deliverer. But before Yahushua, and in this period of time, deliverance was given at the hand of the Maccabees, who were Levites. So these dudes who wasn't of them tried to do it, and they weren't prosperous in that, man. Just like how a lot of Benjamites and Judites try to have different revolts here in like in America and on the islands, but they weren't successful. For example, Nat Turner's revolt. Nat Turner planned a huge revolt, but it wasn't successful. You see what I'm saying? There was a lot of other slave revolts that weren't successful. The only really slave revolt that was successful was the Haitian revolt to get independence. All the other Israelite countries that got independence kind of just got it, like for example, especially the different Benjamite countries, in the sense of the different countries that was over them, namely Britain, abolishing slavery and then later granting them independence, as opposed to them actually fighting against these crackers that was oppressing them, defeating them, and declaring themselves independent, as what happened, with Levi. You see what I'm saying? So that's basically the same principle, And again, reverting back to the scripture in Deuteronomy 33:11, the Lord said, "Blessed be His substance, and let Him take out them that hate them, that hate Him." Basically, you see what I'm saying? That blessing wasn't instilled to all the tribes. Now, when Yahushua come back, all the tribes are going to do that. But that blessing, in the meantime, that blessing really is to Levi. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to skip up here to chapter 6 here in First Maccabees, and I'm going to go to I'm going to start at verse 6. And that Lysias, who went forth first with a great power, was driven away of the Jews, and that they were made strong by the armor and power and store of spoils which they had gotten of the armies whom they had destroyed. Also that they had pulled down the abomination which he had set upon the altar in Jerusalem, that they had compassed about the sanctuary with high walls as before, and his city Bethsura. Now when the king heard these words, he was astonished and sore moved. Whereupon he laid him down upon his bed and fell sick for grief, because it had not befallen him as he looked for. And there he continued many days, for his grief was ever more and more, and he made account that he should die. Wherefore he called for all his friends and said unto them, The sleep is gone from my eyes, and my heart faileth for every care. And I thought myself, into what tribulation am I come, and how great a flood of misery of misery it is, wherein now I am. For I was bountiful and beloved in my power. But now I remember the evils that I did in Jerusalem, and that I took all the vessels of gold and silver that were therein, and sent to destroy the inhabitants of Judea without a cause. I perceive therefore that for this cause these troubles are come upon me, and behold, I perish through great grief in a strange land. Then called he for Philip, one of his friends, whom he had made ruler over his realm, and gave him the crown and his robe and his signet, to the end he should bring up his son Antiochus and nourish him up for the kingdom. So King Antiochus died there in the 149th year. Exactly. So basically, King Antiochus realized he realized in that instance that basically, the Lord had smitten him, made him sick, and that he died, and he realized in that instance that it was all as a result of what he did to our people. Now I'm going to read this excerpt from history. In February 1821, Napoleon's health began to fail rapidly, and on the 3rd of May, 2 British physicians who had recently arrived attended on him, but could only recommend palliatives. He died 2 days later after confession. Extreme unction and Vaticum in the presence of Father Anghi Vignali. His last words were France army Titi de Ami Josephine. France Army, head of the army, Josephine. So basically, so what happened? What happened in this case with Antiochus? He called his friends together. He made his last confession. He appointed his successor, and he died. And it's the same thing that happened, here with Napoleon. Napoleon, he had that confession with his priest, which he probably made a confession that was talking about what he did to Haiti. You understand what I'm saying? And then appointed the head of his army, and he died, man. Hudson Lowe insisted that Napoleon's inscription should read Napoleon Bonaparte, Montalon, and Bertrand wanted the imperial title Napoleon, as royalty were signified by the first names only. As a result, the tomb left nameless, which is really even more of an insult. He died. He was buried in a nameless grave, man. You see what I'm saying? But it's the same thing that happened to Napoleon. Napoleon grew sick. Antiochus grew sick. Napoleon gave a confession. Antiochus gave a confession. Napoleon appointed his heir. Antiochus appointed his heir. Then he died, just like Napoleon. That's the same thing. And that historical excerpt was from a Wikipedia article on Napoleon, but the subsection exile to Elba. Okay, now I'm gonna move on here. I'm gonna skip up to verse 21 here in First Maccabees 6. Howbeit certain of them that were besieged got forth, unto whom some ungodly men of Israel joined themselves, and they went unto the king and said, How long will it be ere that thou execute judgment and avenge our brethren? We have been willing to serve thy father, and to do as he would have us, and to obey his commandments. For which cause they of our nation besiege the tower, and are alienated from us. Moreover, as many of us as they could light on, they slew and spoiled our inheritance. It's a lot. Verse 25. Neither have they stretched out their hand against us only, but also against all their borders. And behold, this day are they besieging the tower at Jerusalem to take it. The sanctuary also and Bethsura have they fortified. Wherefore, if thou dost not prevent them quickly, they will do greater things than these. Neither shalt thou be able to rule them. Okay, so this is similar to this situation here in history. A few situations in history, which I'm gonna bring out. Basically, our people. Basically, you got the wicked Toms of our people who are going to Esau and telling them, well, look, this is what, the justified of our people are doing, who are fighting against you. Do something about it, basically. I'm going to read this from history. The elections were scheduled but were canceled under pressure from the United States government. This is talking about some things that happened with Jean-Bertrand Aristide, which was the president on two separate occasions in Haiti. Okay, so just to give you a little background. The elections were scheduled but were canceled under pressure from the United States government. Aristide and other sources claim that both the coup and the election cancellation were the result of pressure from the American government. High-ranking members of Haitian National Intelligence Service, which had been set up and financed in the 1980s by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, similar thing that they did with Al-Qaeda, setting it up and whatnot, funding it, as a part of the war on drugs, were involved in the coup. Okay, so a group that was totally backed and financed by the CIA was involved in this coup, okay, and were reportedly still receiving funding and training from the CIA for intelligence gathering activities at the time of the coup. So basically, this is Uncle Tom Haitians collaborating with the so-called white man to take out another Haitian, which is the same thing that was happening here in the book of the Maccabees. A campaign of terror against Aristide's supporters was started by Emmanuel Constant after Aristide was forced out. Okay, which is kind of similar to something we also going to read here in the Maccabees. In 1993, Constant, who had been on the CIA's payroll as an informant since 1992, exactly, so he was being funded by this goddamn devil, just like these wicked Israelites who was trying to come and snitch on the Maccabees was being funded and supported by this goddamn devil. Okay, organized the front of for the advancement of the progress of Haiti, which targeted and killed Aristide's supporters. In this case, targeted and killed the supporters of the Maccabees. In addition to this trade with the United States, the coup regime was supported by massive profits from the drug trade thanks to Haiti's military affiliation with the Cali cartel and the drug-affiliated government in the neighboring Dominican Republic. So basically, kind of off topic, but basically well, not off topic, according to the scriptures, but kind of referencing this to another situations with the government, like the CIA with the Contras, with the Nicaragua, Panama, what they was doing and bringing drugs from Afghanistan into the United States and then funneling it later into the Judite neighborhoods here in America. They were also Haiti was a part of it, man, because you had Aristide was opposed to the drugs, but that's the reason I hate that the Americans endorsed and basically funded the revolt and the coup against Aristide, to oust Aristide, to put in a puppet leader so that they could continue to flow of drugs between the Cali cartel and Colombia in through Haiti and then into the eastern coast of America. The same thing they was doing to the western coast of America with the whole thing with the Contras and all that, man. So Esau, he had an intricate network into bringing drugs in the community, both not only to destroy our communities by getting them addicted to drugs, by destroying our communities by selling these drugs. You see what I'm saying? So Esau had a very intricate way of trying to take us down, man. You know what I'm saying? And this is further proof of it. But I'm gonna keep going. Aristide publicly stated that his own pursuit of arresting drug dealers was one event that prompted the coup by drug-affiliated military officials Raoul Cedras and Michel Francois, a claim echoed by his former Secretary of State Patrick Elie. Republican John Conyers, which is a Democrat out of Michigan, expressed concern that the only U.S. government agency to publicly recognize the Haitian junta's role in drug trafficking was the DEA, and that despite a wealth of evidence provided by the DEA proving the junta's drug connections, the Clinton administration downplayed this factor rather than use it as a hedge against the junta, as the U.S. government had done against Manuel Noriega. Man. So it's the same thing, and that was all kind of related. But this all relates back to wicked of our people collaborating with Esau to try to get rid of the righteous of our people, like what happened here. Not saying Aristide was righteous, but as far as in this sense, he was the just one. Conyers expressed concern at this silence was due to CIA's connection to these military officers dating back to the creation of Haitian intelligence service known as SIN, which is sin, which is funny. As Alan Naring's research has shown, we have turned a very deaf ear to what is obviously a moving force. It leads you to wonder if our silence is because we knew this was going on and because of our complicity in drug activity. Exactly. So he's basically saying, saying it. He said it makes you wonder, but he's saying it. Point blank, period. The whole reason for their silence on this issue was because the CIA and the United States government is involved in drug trafficking, and they were using Israelite countries of Levi, Benjamin, Asher, even and Zebulun, and to get drugs into the communities of Judah in the United States of America, and Issachar and other tribes that are here in the United States of America. You see what I'm saying? So this is all, in a sense, created for population control, either to kill us or get us locked up as a result of it, and just of totally killing the nation of Israel. Narn, in particular, alleged that the CIA's connection to these drug traffickers and the junta not only dated to the creation of SIN, but were ongoing during and after the coup. Narn's claims are confirmed in part by revelations of Emmanuel Constant regarding the ties to the FRAPH organization, regarding the ties of his FRAPH organization to the CIA before and during the coup government. Exactly. So it was all, that whole ousting of Aristide originally in 1991 was all about drugs, man. All about basically wickedness. Just like the same thing they were trying to oust the Maccabees in this situation, it was all through wickedness. But the SIN, they were the same as these dudes who basically went to Esau trying to encourage them to take our people out, man. All the same thing, man. Gonna read some further on this about Aristide's second ousting, because after he was ousted, he was exiled, he came back, he became president again, and then he was ousted again in 2004. And I think he just came back to the island in 2012, but Sweet Mickey's president right now. But anyway, in February 2004, the assassination of gang leader Amwa Mitsayor sparked a violent rebellion that culminated in Aristide's removal from office. Amwa's brother, Bachor Mathieu, blamed Aristide for the assassination and used this as an argument given in order to form the National Revolutionary Front for the Liberation of Haiti. Joined by other groups, the rebels quickly took control of the north and eventually laid siege to and then invaded the capital. Under disputed circumstances, Aristide was flown out of the country by the U.S. on the 28th of February 2004. Jamaican Prime Minister P.J. Patterson released a statement saying, "We are bound to question whether his resignation was truly voluntary as it comes after the capture of sections of Haiti by armed insurgents and the failure of the international community to provide the requisite support. The removal of President Aristide in these circumstances sets a dangerous precedent for democratically elected governments anywhere and everywhere, as it promotes the removal of duly elected persons from office by the power of rebel forces." Aristide later, which is what America has been backing for some time, which we see him doing in Syria, they did in Libya, Egypt, and whatnot. Aristide later stated that France and the United States had a role in what was termed a kidnapping that took him from Haiti to South Africa via the Central African Republic. So France and the United States collaborated and basically forced Aristide out, man. You see what I'm saying? Because if you watch the movie Ghost of City Soleil, which is on YouTube, you can watch it. Basically, it surrounds itself all around that period of time and what was taking place in Haiti at that period of time, with his ousting and the rebel forces moving in on Aristide. You see what I'm saying? And they were all United States government backed, much like the rebels of Libya, the rebels of Syria. But again, basically, the wicked of our people collaborating with Esau to take away the just of our people, man, to take them down. Same thing that was happening in 1 Maccabees 6:21-27, which I'm going to continue though. However, authorities said his temporary asylum there had been negotiated by the United States, France, and Gabon. On March 1st, 2004, U.S. Congresswoman Maxine Waters, a Democrat out of California, along with the Aristide family friend Randall Robinson, reported Aristide had told them that he had been forced to resign and had been abducted from the country by the United States, and that he had been held hostage by an armed military guard. So so Esau, he'd been doing this, but really he was doing this to our people before he was doing this over there in the Middle East. But now he's doing there in the Middle East for that oil money, man. And also to get closer to the Holy Land. Because it's all about the control of the Middle East. But I'm gonna keep going. According to Rep. Maxine Waters, Democrat of California, Mildred Aristide called her at home at 6:30 in the morning to inform her the coup d'état has been completed. And Jean-Bertrand Aristide said the U.S. Embassy and Haiti's chief of staff, came to his house to say he would be killed, and a lot of Haitians would be killed if he refused to resign immediately and said he has to go now. You see what I'm saying? So this is all, the United States government set this up, man. Rep. Charles Rangel, Democrat of New York, expressed similar words, saying Aristide had told him he was disappointed that the international community had let him down and that he resigned under pressure. As a matter of fact, he was very apprehensive for his life. They made it clear that he had to go now or he would be killed. When asked for his response to these statements, Colin Powell said that it might have been better for members of Congress who have heard these stories to ask us about the stories before going public with them, so we don't make a difficult situation that much more difficult. Which really he was saying, which they would have hushed him up, man, before they went public with these things. That's all that really meant by that Uncle Tom Colin Powell, which again, first Maccabees, the 6th chapter about Uncle Tom's, collaborating against those of our people who weren't Uncle Tom's. And he alleged Aristide did not democratically govern or govern well. CARICOM, which is an organization of Caribbean countries that included Haiti, called for a United Nations, which is the same as like the EU, but just the Caribbean version. They're their own countries, but they sit down together and make deals and whatnot. Reportedly pressured by the U.S. and France, or CARICOM, an organization of Caribbean countries that included Haiti, called for a United Nations investigation into Aristide's removal, but were the rebellion and removal of Aristide were covertly orchestrated by these two countries, which they were. In a 2006 interview, Aristide said the U.S. went back on their word regarding compromises he made with them over privatization of enterprises to ensure that that part of the profits would go to the Haitian people, and then relied on a disinformation campaign to discredit him. So basically, it was all about they was trying to get some money in Haiti. Aristide was like, "Fuck that," essentially, and basically, then they went to oust him, man, and it had to also do with the drugs, man. You know what I'm saying? Same thing was happening here. It was about money, a lot here, because it says, let me, but yeah, in besieging these sanctuaries and whatnot, and taking these buildings over, it fucks with Esau's money, man. You see what I'm saying? And you know that they also fucking with their tax money, which was very important during that time in Judea, and that's the actual reason for a lot of different rebellions in that time. But